So here's the deal. 2 years ago, it was time to smog my 2003 Subaru Forester. It passed emissions, but I couldn't get a smog certificate because 2 of the monitors would not become ready. That was the Evap and the Cat monitor. After driving all sorts of crazy driving patterns, going to the dealership, spending about $600 on parts to no avail, I finally had to go to the smog referee and got a 2-year reprieve and was able to register the car. But you can only do that once. So it's 2 years later, it's time to smog this car. And the internet says that my problem is my neutral switch. So I'm going to test that neutral switch, and if it's bad, replace it and see if that solves my problem. The first thing we have to do is crawl under here and go to the neutral switch and trace the wiring to find out which connector that is.
So looking at the transmission, here is the neutral switch, here's the backup switch. And so we can see that there's a white wire coming from the neutral switch, which is the one we need to test. It goes up under the air cleaner, so now we have to go under the hood and pull the air cleaner and test the neutral switch.
So now at this end of the car, we need to pull off the air cleaner. To do that, first we have to remove this air tube here, and then the air cleaner is essentially held on with these 2 10mm bolts. And also have to remove 2 vacuum lines here, and this temperature sensor. And then over here we have the throttle body clamp. So we remove the throttle body hose clamp, these 2 10mm bolts, this vacuum line, that vacuum line, and this tube here. This just pulls off. If I give it a good yank, it'll come right out. Pull it out there, and that tube is out of the way. Undo the hose clamp on the throttle body. Next thing, we have to remove these 2 10mm bolts. Next, we need to remove these 2 vacuum lines. Last but not least, temperature sensor connector. And now the air cleaner should come right out. And it's gone. And now we have exposed the 2 connectors. This one is for the backup light, that one is for the neutral switch. And what I have to do is get in there with an ohm meter and test that neutral switch. Okay, so I need to pull out this connector. Give it a little push and a shove with a screwdriver here. There we go. And it's out. Let's get it out of the way. Now I need to put a couple of clip leads in there. Put in 1 clip lead. A little alligator clip on the end here. Probably can't see through my arm, but I'll show you what I've done after I've done it. A little slippery. Okay, got that one in. I'll put that one in with the insulation, but I can't fit them both in with the insulation, so what I will do is I'll pull the insulation back on this one. You're focused on that. Put this one in there next to it. And it feels like I've got connections to both connectors in there. So now, put these on the ohm meter. Let's pull that back a little bit. Now that I've got them in there, let's connect these to the leads on the ohm meter. And here's where you have to set this up. Set this on kilo ohms so that we can see the display. Let's turn it on. And we see we have an open circuit there, indicated by the 1 and the blank display. So now I don't know if the switch is open in neutral or closed in neutral. So right now it's an open connection. So what I'm going to do is go into the car and I'm going to put the car in neutral and see if that changes. So the car is now in neutral, no change. So assuming I've got a good connection at that end, this switch is bad. And I'm pretty sure I have a good connection. So, bad neutral switch, just like the internet said. That's the thing to go for when you get that 519 code. So, next thing we need to do is change that switch. Just for good measure, I have the replacement switch here. And I've hooked it up to the ohm meter in the same manner. And switch out, open circuit, switch closed, closed circuit. So this is a good switch. So let's get on to replacing it. Okay, it's going to be next to impossible for me to work with the camera here, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do. We have the neutral switch here. It's just a hex nut on the switch. Just pull that out with a wrench, undo the wiring from the harness, and then replace the replacement switch in reverse order. Okay, I had to cut the wire on the switch because my crescent wrench was just rounding it off. Cut the wire so I get a socket on there, and I've removed the switch. I've loosened up the wires. Now I'm going to have to remove this bracket in order to take the connector off. 14 it is. Bolt removed. And flip over the bracket. Take a pair of noodle nose pliers here, give it a little squeeze. There we go, and it is disconnected. Now, got the wire out. Now the fun begins, because if you take a quick look, you'll notice with the gray connector down here and the gray connector up here, this is actually a backup switch, but the internet says they're the same. To get the genuine neutral switch was, well, this was $25. The actual genuine switch was like $125. The internet says they're actually the same, the difference being these connectors. So there's a different insert. They're keyed differently. But according to the internet, I can remove this keyway here and switch it over to the new one, and it will work. We shall see. So what I need to do is remove this insert, and I should be able to do it by just a quick push of the needle nose pliers. Get that insert out. Do the same in the new switch. Put the old insert in, and theoretically this will fit. Let's find out. And it's in. Now before you put the new switch in, don't forget it does come with a brand spanking new copper crush washer. Don't forget to put that on the switch before you install it. Okay, now let's put this bracket back on. Torque this down with my organic torque wrench. Just about right. Okay, the switch is in place. You can see it right here. And I just put it in with a crescent wrench and torqued it with my organic torque wrench. I'll have to check it for leaks later, but it should be okay. And then after putting it in, I routed the wires up under the hood
And you want to route the wires after you put the switch in. If you don't, you will find out why. Here's the wire already just about here. And before I actually hook that up, I'm going to bring that ohm meter back here and check it out. So there we are on the ohm meter again. I've got it hooked up like I did before, and we see we have infinite resistance now. Actually, the car was in neutral, now it is in gear. Voila! So here we are, just about to finish the job. So I will hook the connector in, clip right in, push this down where it goes, clicks in place, and all we have left to do is put the air cleaner back on and the car is ready to go. Okay, and it's done. Okay, I've driven about 100 miles or so, just out to the desert and back. I've hooked up my ODB scanner to the car, and I'm going to see if the monitors are ready. I'm pressing the IM button, and voila, they are ready for the first time in 2 years. Now I can go get this car smogged.